The coming weeks on The Bold and the Beautiful are set to bring intense drama and emotional upheaval as key characters make life-altering decisions, relationships are tested, and secrets unfold. From October 27th to November 7th, fans of the long-running soap opera will witness the consequences of these choices unfold, with a spotlight on Hope Logan, Electra Forrester, Deacon Sharp, and the complicated relationships that tie them all together. In a series of high-stakes developments, there will be unexpected twists, deeply personal decisions, and potentially dangerous consequences that could change everything for these beloved characters. As the week of October 27th to 31st begins, Liam Spencer, known for his sometimes indecisive nature, steps into a new role. With the future of his relationship with Hope hanging in the balance, Liam makes a bold move to solidify his commitment to her. After years of ups and downs, betrayals and heartbreaks, Liam is determined to show Hope just how much she means to him. He goes all in, putting everything on the line to prove that he is ready to build a future with her. Despite his past doubts and indecisiveness, this time Liam is not hesitating. He lays his heart bare, letting Hope know that she is the only woman for him and that he wants to spend the rest of his life with her. Hope, who has faced her own struggles and made her share of mistakes, finds herself at a crossroads. Her journey with Liam has been anything but simple, yet she can't help but acknowledge the love and devotion he is offering. Throughout their tumultuous history, Hope has hesitated, uncertain of her feelings and what her heart truly desires. However, this time feels different. After reflecting on the ups and downs, she starts to see the potential for a new beginning. Hope is ready to open herself fully to Liam once again. This decision, though difficult, could be the beginning of a new chapter for the couple as Liam proposes to Hope once more. With a new sense of certainty, Liam asks Hope to be his forever, and in a pivotal moment, she accepts. This proposal could mark the start of their happily ever after, as Hope wears her engagement ring with pride, signaling the commitment she is finally willing to make. However, just as Hope and Liam prepare for their new beginning, chaos stirs in the Forrester world. Hope, now caught in the whirlwind of her reunion with Liam, heads to the Forrester Gallery to meet Electra Forrester, Ivy Forrester, Daphne Rose, and Deke Sharp. This meeting is not only a professional gathering, but a moment that will set the stage for a confrontation that no one saw coming. Deke, ever the opportunist, decides to introduce Remy Pryce to the group. Little does Deke know, Electra has a much deeper connection to Remy than anyone realizes. Electra's past with Remy is anything but pleasant, and the prospect of him returning into her life stirs up fear and anxiety. The deep fake scandal that has haunted Electra's life resurfaces, and Remy's presence threatens to reignite the terror she thought she had left behind. Remy's pursuit of Electra causes her to fear for her safety once again, but before she can act, Will Spencer arrives just in time to save her from a confrontation that could have ended disastrously. In the midst of this chaos, Ivy, who understands the emotional and psychological toll that Electra has experienced, takes the opportunity to criticize Remy. With the terrifying history between Remy and Electra, Ivy is not inclined to give him the benefit of the doubt. Deke, having introduced Remy to the group, is blindsided by the explosive revelations that emerge. As the truth comes to light, Deke is faced with a difficult choice. Remy insists that he has changed, that he is no longer the man who terrorized Electra in the past, but Deke is left grappling with the unsettling knowledge of Remy's past actions. This new information shakes Deke to his core, and he begins to question his judgment in bringing Remy into the fold. Despite Remy's insistence that he is a different person now, Deke is not so sure. The situation with Remy not only jeopardizes his relationship with Electra, but also threatens to unravel the fragile bonds he has with his team at Forrester Creations. Meanwhile, Deacon Sharp is also grappling with his own challenges. Having developed a closer relationship with Taylor Hayes, Deacon seeks her guidance to help him navigate the emotional turmoil in his life. Taylor, a trusted confidant, has always offered Deacon support, and now, in his moments of vulnerability, he leans on her advice. However, as Deacon and Taylor spend more time together, their bond grows stronger, and the lines between patient and therapist become increasingly blurred. Deacon, who has long struggled with his emotions, finds himself drawn to Taylor in a way that complicates their professional relationship. As Taylor helps Deacon work through his feelings about Ridge Forrester and his tumultuous past, they grow closer, and Deacon begins to wonder if his feelings for her might go beyond mere gratitude. With their connection deepening, Deacon is left wondering if there might be more to their relationship than just therapy. As Deacon grows more attached to Taylor, the danger of crossing boundaries becomes ever more apparent. Taylor, though supportive, remains cautious, aware that she is walking a fine line in her interactions with Deacon. Eventually, Taylor comes to realize that this emotional closeness is inappropriate, given Deacon's role as her patient. Her professional ethics demand that she maintain a clear boundary, but the connection between them has already been established. Deacon, however, may not be able to let go of his newfound feelings for Taylor, and this emotional turmoil might cause him to make impulsive decisions. As Deacon contemplates his growing attraction to Taylor, he finds himself torn between his feelings for her and his unresolved issues with Sheila. The complex web of emotions Deacon faces could lead to explosive consequences in the weeks to come. In the midst of these emotional entanglements, Luna Nozawa remains a significant figure. Despite being incarcerated, Luna is determined to find a way to escape from prison once again. Her relentless pursuit of freedom is fueled by desperation and the belief that she can still regain control over her life. Whether or not Luna will succeed in her dangerous plan remains uncertain, but it is clear that she will stop at nothing to achieve her goals. Steffy Forrester, who has had her own complicated relationship with Luna, continues to push for Luna's continued imprisonment. Steffy, unwilling to forgive Luna for her past actions, remains steadfast in her belief that Luna deserves to stay behind bars. As Steffy fights for justice, Luna's schemes become more dangerous, and Steffy finds herself locked in a battle between her sense of right and wrong and the reality of Luna's unwavering determination. From November 3rd to 7th, Liam and Hope are set to focus on their wedding plans, with the anticipation of their upcoming nuptials bringing moments of joy and happiness. For Hope and Liam, this is a time of celebration, and they are able to bask in the love they share as they plan for their future together. Their daughter, Beth, is also thrilled at the prospect of her parents getting married again, and the family's happiness is palpable. The wedding plans become a symbol of their commitment to each other and their shared future, offering a glimmer of hope amidst the turmoil surrounding them. In a rare moment of peace, Hope, Liam, and Beth will share loving moments, reminding fans of the warmth and connection that the Forrester family can offer. Meanwhile, Ridge Forrester is far from pleased with Deacon's increasing closeness to Taylor. Ridge, ever protective of his family, becomes aware of Deacon's behavior and is furious. The tension between Deacon and Ridge is set to escalate, and their rivalry is likely to come to a head in the coming weeks. Deacon, who has been seeking solace in Taylor's advice, will find himself in the midst of a confrontation with Ridge, and the fallout could be severe. Back in the Forrester Creations fold, Remy's attempts to prove he has changed will continue, but not everyone is convinced. As Deke struggles with his feelings about Remy's past actions, he faces the dilemma of whether to trust him again. Dek's decision could impact his relationships with Elektra, Ivy, and the rest of the Forrester team, and it is unclear whether he will ultimately choose to give Remy a second chance. The consequences of Dek's decision will ripple through the Forrester world, creating tension and uncertainty for everyone involved. The coming weeks on The Bold and the Beautiful will bring high drama, emotional decisions, and dangerous consequences that could reshape the lives of the Forrester family and their associates. As characters like Liam, Hope, Deacon, and Elektra grapple with their own choices, viewers can expect explosive confrontations, unexpected twists, and a deep dive into the complexities of love. loyalty, and revenge. What happens next could change everything, and fans won't want to miss a moment of the action. The Bold and the Beautiful, a beloved soap opera filled with twists, emotional upheavals, and deeply complicated relationships, continues to capture the hearts of its viewers. Recently, a storm seems to be brewing around the impending wedding of Liam Spencer and Hope Logan, which could push Thomas Forrester, a character whose emotions are already in turmoil, toward a mental breakdown. As Hope and Liam's wedding approaches, Thomas is set to face a devastating emotional crisis that will put him on a dangerous path of instability. This turmoil seems to be a direct consequence of his failed relationship with Paris Buckingham, his lost professional direction, and his unresolved feelings for Hope. Thomas Forrester has long been a character embroiled in internal conflict. Once the talented designer at Forrester Creations, Thomas had it all: success, family legacy, and the attention of the woman he loved. But as the years passed, Thomas's life became a series of emotional entanglements that gradually unraveled his stability. His relationship with Hope has been particularly tumultuous, with the two of them having a long history of attraction, tension, and heartbreak. Thomas has always believed that Hope is the woman he is meant to be with, and yet his persistent efforts to win her over have been met with rejection time and again. Thomas's longing for Hope was never a secret, but despite his advances and passionate declarations, Hope could not commit to him in the way he desired. There was always something holding her back. It wasn't that Hope didn't care for Thomas at one point. She even considered his proposal. But her feelings were far more complicated, and as time went on, Hope realized that she wasn't ready to give her heart to Thomas fully. His obsession with her, combined with some of his questionable actions over the years, only pushed her further away. But there was always the lingering possibility that something could change. Hope's internal struggle created a tension between them that viewers could not help but watch with bated breath. The tension reached a new height when Paris Buckingham entered the picture. Thomas, feeling rejected by Hope, turned to Paris in an attempt to move on from his unrequited love. Their engagement seemed like a fresh start for Thomas, a chance to build something new, something different from his past failures. Yet, Paris's own uncertainties about the relationship led to their breakup, throwing Thomas into a deeper emotional crisis. He had already lost Hope, but now he had lost Paris as well. Paris was supposed to be his way forward, but the promise of a new future was shattered. The emotional devastation didn't end with the dissolution of his relationship with Paris. Thomas found himself at a crossroads, both in his personal life and his career. He confided in his father, Ridge Forrester, that he felt lost, adrift without direction. Not only had he lost Paris, but Thomas also found himself without a creative outlet. As a designer at Forrester Creations, Thomas had once thrived, turning his innovative ideas into fashion triumphs. However, with his exclusion from the Hope for the future HFTF line, Thomas had no project to pour his heart and soul into. He had been sidelined, and this professional frustration compounded his emotional distress. What once brought him purpose and joy now felt like a distant memory. The most painful blow came when Hope for the Future, a project Thomas had once been the driving force behind, began to move forward without him. Hope, now working with Deke Sharp and other members of her team, was taking the line in a new direction, and Thomas was forced to watch from the sidelines. His creative vision for the line was now out of the picture, and the success of the project was a reminder of his own professional failures. For someone who had once been on top of the world, this was a devastating fall from grace. The pain of losing his relationship with Paris and his professional foothold left Thomas feeling utterly broken. But perhaps the most crushing blow of all was the news of Hope and Liam's impending wedding. Hope, despite all the doubts and hesitations, was moving forward with Liam, and this seemed to be the final confirmation of everything Thomas had feared. Hope was committing to Liam, the man who had always stood in Thomas's way. The wedding plans were already underway, and Thomas was forced to confront the reality that the woman he had once loved and hoped to build a life with was now going to marry someone else. This news was more than just the loss of a romantic relationship. It symbolized the end of the life Thomas had envisioned for himself. The one thing that had driven him for years, the belief that Hope was meant to be his, was slipping further away. For Thomas, the news of Hope and Liam's wedding felt like the ultimate betrayal. He had fought for Hope's love, but in the end, she had chosen Liam. This betrayal, combined with his personal and professional failures, sent Thomas spiraling. The emotional weight of everything that had gone wrong in his life seemed unbearable. It was clear that Thomas was no longer in control of his emotions, and his mental state was deteriorating rapidly. The wedding of Hope and Liam could very well be the final straw, pushing Thomas to the brink of an emotional breakdown. Thomas's reaction to the news of Hope's upcoming wedding was one of profound anguish. While his feelings of rejection were nothing new, the culmination of everything he had lost, the love of Hope, his relationship with Paris, his place at Forrester Creations, pushed him to the edge. For a man who had already struggled with deep emotional issues, this was a dangerous tipping point. Would Thomas crack under the pressure, or would he find a way to regain control of his life? One thing was certain, his obsession with Hope was far from over, and the wedding would only fuel his anger and desperation. As Hope and Liam's wedding approached, Thomas became more unpredictable. His jealousy and rage grew, and it seemed like he might do anything to sabotage the union between his rival and the woman he had always wanted. Would he resort to his manipulative ways to cause chaos at the wedding? Would his emotions drive him to do something far more drastic? The possibility of Thomas creating a scene at the wedding was a looming threat, one that left fans on edge, wondering what would happen next. The prospect of Thomas creating chaos at the wedding wasn't just about the potential for drama, it was about the character's very survival. For Thomas, the wedding was more than just an event. It was the final chapter in his long, tortured relationship with Hope. It was the moment that would either confirm his worst fears or force him to face the reality that he had to move on, no matter how impossible that might seem. The stakes were high, and the tension surrounding the wedding could lead to a monumental showdown, one that would change everything for Thomas, Hope, and Liam. In the end, whether Thomas will be able to pull himself out of his emotional spiral remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, his journey is far from over, and the wedding of Liam and Hope could mark the beginning of a new chapter in Thomas's troubled life. Will he rise above the heartbreak, or will he allow his obsession to consume him? Fans of the bold and the beautiful will be eagerly watching to see what happens next as Thomas's emotional journey takes another dramatic turn. After Steffy Forrester's brief time away from Los Angeles, the city she once knew so well seems vastly different upon her return. The vibrant energy of the bustling fashion world, the family drama that once consumed her every moment, and the intricate web of relationships that surrounded her have all evolved in ways Steffy never expected. However, it is one particular situation that captures her attention above all others: the shocking turn of events involving Luna. Luna, the young woman who had been a part of Steffy's life in ways both personal and professional, has ended up in jail, and this sudden twist is something Steffy cannot ignore. Steffy, having returned from her time away, is immediately struck by the changes that have unfolded while she was gone. Her return to the family business and the dramatic world of Forrester Creations feels overwhelming at first. The dynamics of the business have shifted, the atmosphere is tense, and personal relationships within the Forrester family, as always, are far from easy. But as she begins to settle back into her routine, Steffy quickly realizes that something is amiss. Her thoughts are consumed by the situation involving Luna, a young woman who had been a fixture in Steffy's life for some time. What began as a seemingly inconspicuous series of events has now escalated into something far more dire, leading to Luna's incarceration. The news of Luna's imprisonment shakes Steffy to her core. Steffy knows Luna well. They have a shared history, and Steffy has always seen potential in her. Luna had been on a promising path, working with Forrester Creations and aligning herself with Steffy's vision for the future of the fashion world. However, something went terribly wrong, and the innocent, promising young woman Steffy once knew is now facing the harsh reality of life behind bars. This drastic shift in Luna's life is something that Steffy simply cannot ignore. It strikes a chord within her, drawing her back into Luna's story in a way that will alter her life dramatically. Steffy's deep sense of empathy, coupled with her strong commitment to helping those she cares about, compels her to take action. She refuses to stand idly by while Luna's life unravels, especially given how much Luna's situation mirrors some of Steffy's own struggles in the past. Steffy knows how hard it can be to navigate the pressures of life, particularly when it feels like the world is conspiring against you. With this in mind, Steffy makes the decision to visit Luna in jail, hoping to gain a better understanding of what led to this shocking turn of events. This visit is not only a gesture of support, but also a step toward unraveling the mystery of how Luna ended up in such a dire situation. Arriving at the jail, Steffy is immediately struck by the grim atmosphere that surrounds her. The heavy security, the cold concrete walls, and the somber expressions of the women incarcerated within these walls all serve as a reminder of how dire Luna's circumstances have become. Steffy, known for her poise and confidence, feels an unfamiliar sense of vulnerability in this setting. It is one thing to hear about someone's troubles from a distance, but it is entirely another to confront the reality of their situation up close and personal. As she walks toward the holding area, Steffy's mind races with questions. What exactly happened to Luna? How did things spiral so far out of control? And what can she do to help? These questions weigh heavily on Steffy as she prepares to face Luna. When Steffy finally comes face to face with Luna, the emotional weight of the situation is almost unbearable. Luna, once full of energy and potential, now looks tired and defeated. Her once bright eyes seem dimmed, her shoulders heavy with the weight of her circumstances. Steffy is shocked to see the woman who had once been so full of life now reduced to someone trapped in a grim reality. Despite the difference in their current circumstances, Steffy remains composed, determined to support Luna through this dark chapter of her life. The two women exchange a brief but meaningful look, and it is clear that Steffy's presence is a comfort to Luna, who is clearly struggling to make sense of everything that has happened. In their conversation, Luna opens up to Steffy, revealing the events that led to her incarceration. It becomes clear that Luna's situation is far more complex than Steffy could have ever imagined. Luna had made a series of decisions that, at the time, seemed to be the right ones, but those decisions ultimately spiraled out of control. What began as a minor issue snowballed into something far larger, leaving Luna trapped in a web of legal and emotional turmoil. Her actions were influenced by a range of factors, including pressure from those around her, the burden of expectations, and perhaps even a desire for validation in a world that often seemed indifferent to her needs. As Luna explains the details of her situation, Steffy listens intently, offering words of comfort and understanding. Despite her own busy life and the challenges she faces within her family and business, Steffy is fully present in the moment, focused solely on Luna. It is clear that this visit is not just about offering advice or quick solutions, but about giving Luna the emotional support she so desperately needs during this difficult time. Steffy reassures Luna that she is not alone and that she will do everything in her power to help her through this ordeal. This promise is not something Steffy takes lightly, and she is prepared to move mountains to ensure that Luna gets the justice and support she deserves. However, as Steffy spends more time with Luna, she begins to realize that the road ahead will not be an easy one. The situation is far more complicated than Steffy initially thought, and the stakes are high. Luna's case is filled with legal and emotional obstacles, and there is no guarantee of a favorable outcome. Steffy understands the gravity of the situation, but she remains determined to help Luna find a way out of her predicament. The journey to securing Luna's freedom will be long and arduous, and it will require Steffy to navigate a labyrinth of legal challenges, emotional turmoil, and family dynamics that could complicate matters further. Steffy's role in Luna's life takes on a new sense of urgency as she becomes more involved in the case. She is determined to be the voice of reason, offering guidance and support at every turn. However, as she delves deeper into the details of Luna's case, Steffy realizes that the forces working against Luna are much stronger than she anticipated. The legal system, the media, and even some of Luna's former allies are all playing a part in the pressure that is mounting on her. It is clear that Steffy will have to confront powerful forces if she wants to secure Luna's freedom. As Steffy works tirelessly to support Luna, the situation becomes more intense. Steffy's determination to help Luna reaches new heights, and she begins to use her influence to gather resources, find legal help, and build a strategy that could lead to a successful resolution. Throughout this process, Steffy is faced with difficult choices that test her resilience and her ability to navigate the complexities of both her personal life and the professional world she inhabits. At every turn, she is confronted with the reality that Luna's case is much more than just a simple legal matter. It is a battle for justice, for redemption, and for the possibility of a new life. In the end, Steffy's decision to visit Luna in jail marks the beginning of a journey that will not only change Luna's life, but also have a profound impact on Steffy's own. As the two women work together to unravel the mystery of Luna's situation, Steffy learns valuable lessons about loyalty, compassion, and the importance of never giving up on the people she cares about. Their bond grows stronger, and Steffy becomes more determined than ever to see Luna through to the other side of this dark chapter. The journey is far from over, but with Steffy's support, Luna has a chance at redemption and a brighter future.